going on, everybody? We are going to be looking at one of my all-time favorite genres, the Western. Over the next 4 weeks, we are going to be covering the history of the Western film and how that genre proved to be one of the most prolific genres in film history. So welcome to part 1 of the 4-part series, How the West Was Lost, the history of the Western film. Let's get right to it. So the Western is a genre of various arts ranging from comic books to radio programs, stories and films set primarily in the later half of the 19th century in the American Old West. Westerns are often centered around a nomadic cowboy or gunfighter, while other characters may include Native Americans, outlaws, bandits, lawmen, and soldiers. Western films often stress the harshness of the wilderness and are frequently set in desolate, arid landscapes of desert and mountainous regions. The American Film Institute defines the Western film as those set in the American West that embodies the spirit, the struggle, and the demise of the new frontier. Westerns usually are morality tales, with Western protagonists largely portraying Arthurian characters such as knights and warriors who basically fight villains and rescue damsels in distress. Of course, the romance of the Western was already in place long before film was even invented. And when film was invented at the turn of the century, a lot of the first movies to be shot centered around the romance of the Western genre. In the course of film history, particularly the Western genre, it's important to note that there are many subgenre Western films that fall into many different categories, so I'm going to go over all those categories with you right now. The first subgenre is the ranch story, where the plot concerns itself with threats to a ranch or landowner who are threatened to be forced out by larger forces at being. The second subgenre is the empire story. It's a plot that shows the building of a ranch or empire or oil field or other big business. It's basically a classic rags to riches kind of tale. The third is the revenge story. The plot often involves an elaborate chase and pursuit by a wronged individual, which may include classic elements of a mystery story at being. The fourth is the cavalry Indian story, which involves the taming of the wilderness for white settlers. The fifth is the outlaw story, which involves outlaw gangs that dominate the action. And last but not least, we have the martial story, which shows a lawman and his challenges, which helps drive the plot. So these are the major sub-Western genres that we see in Western films, although some of the subgenres might be mixed together with slight alterations regarding some of the themes that are going into that Western film. So when film was first invented, a lot of filmmakers liked to experiment with different genres, but the two main popular ones were Shakespeare and the Western genre. The very first Western film that was made was The Great Train Robbery, directed by Edwin S. Porter in 1903. At 10 minutes long, The Great Train Robbery is considered a milestone in filmmaking because of its on-location shooting, frequent camera movements, and use of cross-cut editing. The Great Train Robbery is considered to be not only the first Western film ever made, but also the first action film ever made. The film was selected for preservation by the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. And the most famous shot comes at the final scene of the movie, when a cowboy opens fire his revolver directly at the camera. The Great Train Robbery set the stage for Hollywood's golden era of Western films to come. Anyway guys, that's it for this week. I hope you liked the introduction to the Western film. Next week we will actually get into more of the classic Westerns that we see in the Hollywood films, like the John Wayne films, the John Ford films. So stay tuned for that. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this, click the like button over here. Also make sure to subscribe to this channel, Film School Hooligans, and check out our website, filmschoolhooligans.com. See you guys next week.